Stephen Speak, Extra Speak. A little more of everything and nothing. Don't forget to subscribe. Hello, welcome to episode 19 of Extra Speak. 19! X-I-X in Roman numerals. I'm not going to lie, I had to Google that because when I wrote it down, it didn't look right, to be honest. And I was like, is that right? Has my knowledge of Roman numerals failed me? No, it hadn't. I was indeed correct. It just looked odd. Symmetrical, I think, was the reason it looked odd. I don't know. Anyway, that's not what this episode's about. It's not about bloody Roman numerals again. It's about where your sense of humour comes from, where my sense of humour comes from, I believe. I have a quite snobbish sense of humour in some ways, but also incredibly childish. Like, I will laugh at very silly things, but sometimes very silly things really wind me up and I don't think it's funny. So very niche silliness, I think. For example, the other day I laughed at the words chicken crisps. Chicken crisps made me laugh. Don't know why. Who knew? You know. Anyway, it is my belief. It's kind of, I think it's like a lot of things probably comes from your parents and family and siblings and things, but I think it's like to do with the media that you absorb as well. And when I was a child, I used to love Jerry Lewis. As I've said in a previous episode about The Nutty Professor, I used to love watching his films as a kid. Charlie Chaplin, Laurel and Hardy, and Robin Williams was my absolute hero. I just love that guy, and it's such a shame that he's not with us any longer. And the difficulties he was going through to take his own life, which is terrible. And you find that with a lot of comedians and stuff. They're quite dark, and have like quite a polarizing side to them. But like Robin Williams is like in Mork and Mindy is probably what my earliest memory of him would be, watching reruns of Mork and Mindy, because obviously I'm not old enough to remember it when they were first out. Cheeky bastards! I know what you were all thinking. Yeah, but his portrayal of Mork in that show, it was just such energy. It was I always felt like the co-stars never knew what he was actually going to do, and they were always trying to hold back the laughter because, like, he had he just natural ability to make people laugh, and I've always found joy in that, to be like telling a story and giving someone joy out of the comedy from a story that you're telling, or just to be silly and make someone laugh, especially with children. I love being silly for children and making them laugh and giggle and stuff. It's ace, and I can see why it's probably like a bit of a drug. But also the Carry On films as well, massive thing in my childhood. I as a child, you don't really pick up all the innuendos that are in it and stuff, but as an adult, you do. Well, it doesn't take anything away from it. They were just silly films, probably not very politically correct, like most things aren't now from that kind of era, from like the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Like, there's probably not a lot that they could probably show uncensored now, which is a shame in some sense. But we have to respect like people's different views and the way things carry on in the world. Right, we wouldn't accept racism now, and some shows years ago made a mockery of stuff like that. So got to move with the times, I suppose. But obviously, I was brought up in that era where it was probably a bit more free speech, and I don't think it was meant for the majority of the time, not meant with any malice. But I suppose. Yeah, we've got to grow as we move along, don't we? But yeah, my comedy comes from all them kind of silly influences, and comedy films such as like Uncle Buck, John Candy. I loved John Candy when I was a kid. Steve Martin films, Eddie Murphy films, like The Golden Child, and yeah, just all these brilliant films like Beverly Hills Cop, and I think. There's a difference, obviously, between like stand-up people and sitcoms and things like that in films. But that old era of comedy, such as like a Jerry Lewis film or Laurel and Hardy, and yeah, maybe had maybe slight adult themes every so often where an alluring woman would come past and they'd do a wink and a smile and they'd look at her bosoms and stuff, and there'd be slight innuendo and stuff. But it was all pretty much innocent stuff, like slapstick, tongue-in-cheek jokes. And then that reminded me of someone else, like, the two Ronnies. The two Ronnies were geniuses. Like, Ronnie Barker, like, what a guy, his wordplay had me in stitches. Like, the famous one where they're both on the phone and the conversation switching from one person to the other, but it seems like it's a continuation. Absolute genius, The Mastermind episode where you've chosen to answer the question from the previous question, or something like that, whatever it is. It's too complex for my brain to comprehend. How he came up with that was amazing. And that show used to just crack me up as well. And Russ, just remember Russ Abbott as well, the Russ Abbott show. Like, all these things when I was a child, silly, maybe slightly sexual, but innocent kind of things. But based on like observational silliness, really, and bit of slapstick. That's my bread and butter. I'm quite an innocent person at heart, anyway. I don't like things that really are there to offend. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't mind the odd like stand-up show of like Jimmy Carr or something like that, but sometimes they can be a bit close to the bone, and it's kind of like that awkward kind of laughter, and you think I shouldn't really be laughing at that, and I don't think that's needed. Like, genuinely, I don't think that's needed. I just all them people from my childhood, I think, have really formed my sense of humour and probably some way towards my personality as well, to be honest. Because, you kind of get your sense of self from the people that you idolise, I suppose, and you aspire to be. And Robin Williams was probably definitely one of them people that I imitated as a child, probably more than anyone else. Maybe Sid James, because I used to love the Sid James laugh, and a bit of tiffin. I'm not going to do the Sid James laugh, for the much disappointed of one of my mates. Just amazing, talented people, and it's nice to have that pureness in entertainment. And not that Robin Williams was also always politically correct, and he did get a bit blue sometimes, but Mork and Mindy, what a show! What a show! I heard at one point they were going to remake it, and I was like, how the hell can you remake that without Robin Williams? Who the hell would be able to do that? No one. It's just a thought. I was thinking, like, how that's made my character and for my sense of humor, really. And I think all them things definitely had. I just wanted to share that with you, and it was just my memory, really, of watching films when I was like off school and watching things on a Saturday morning and just innocently laughing at things. Thank you very much for listening. Let me know what films you love from your childhood, comedy films and comedy actors and stand-up comedians that you think shaped your comedic taste buds, let's say. Thanks very much for listening, and take care. Cheers. You've been listening to Stephen Speak, Extra Speak. Thanks for listening, and please subscribe.